Now, if you live in Florida, you might have heard of the Belleview-Biltmore Hotel and Spa, but did you know that at one point in time in America, this was the largest wooden structure, and the location that it's at now is not the original location, but look, don't worry, I did some digging. Let's get into it. Now, before we get too deep into this is Henry Plant. If you know anything about Henry, he was a very successful businessman, but he also brought the railroads down to the west side of the state. Now, Henry was a builder, all right? Matter of fact, he built the Tampa Hotel in 1888, which is Tampa's first hotel, all right? But a little bit later on, late, 1890s, he said, I got to build something way bigger, because the thing is, he was competing with Flagler, all right? And at the same time, Flagler, he was building the Ponce de Leon Hotel. Now, around 1895, 1896, he starts building this thing, all right? And he had a vision. He said, look, I want this to be the biggest hotel that anyone has ever seen, right? And the people that was building it was like, look, we got you. We're going to do the thing thizzle, but I'm going to be honest with you, man. We ain't going to be able to get it finished in the time frame that you wanted to be finished in. But Henry was like, look, I got a way that we probably could do this a little bit quicker. I'm going to use my resources. So instead of, Henry going way out and like getting a lot of stuff from overseas, because that's what a lot of these guys were doing then. They wanted all this like overseas stuff so they could bring the value up. But Henry was like, look, why don't we just use Florida pine? All right, we're going to build this whole thing straight out of wood, and I'm going to be shipping, on my railroads. We just going to keep bringing in wood continuously, daily, on my own tracks. Now, see, this is the thing. Around this time, okay, almost 1900s, people wasn't really building stuff out of wood no more. They had a whole century of people's structures catching on fire. So people are now starting to use brick and concrete. But Henry was like, nope, 100% out of wood. Now, when they opened up the doors, 1897, they had 145, guest rooms. And it was about 400,000 square feet. And at the time, in Florida, that was the largest, wooden structure. But with these, guest rooms, each one of these guest rooms had lights throughout the whole room. Not just one light, though. They had about 3 lights, which was unheard of. Also, the area that this hotel was built in at the time, before Henry started, building this thing, it was only about 1,500 residents in the area. And he wanted to use this part of Tampa to be like his hub, all right, for his railroad business. So he wanted to change the atmosphere. That's why he built this here. And after they opened in 1897, this place started booming. I'm talking about money started flooding in. Matter of fact, at the time, anybody who was anybody, okay? Importance, politicians, celebrities, movie stars at the time, they would come here just frequently to use this spot as a vacation, because also, like I said, wasn't a lot of people in the area. So for the first 10 years, people would come here just to get away. But they could keep the luxury that they're used to. Now, Bel Air, Florida, it's ringing, all right, through the United States, especially all the way up in New York. Because remember what I said, Henry, all right? His railroads ran back and forth. So there are now people coming from up north, all right, to come down to this hotel to spend their money. But Henry passes away, 1899. All right, almost made it to the new century. But when he passes away, his son takes over the business. Now, when his son takes over, all right, his son puts a lot of money into this hotel. He paints the roof, all right? He adds numerous ballrooms, Olympic-sized swimming pool, an inside swimming pool, and he makes this grand entrance. Like when you come in and check in for your hotel, he kind of wilded that whole thing out. And with these expansions, the size of this hotel now, it went from 400,000 to 820,000 square feet, making it the largest wooden structure in America. And these wasn't regular sized ballrooms. These things were massive, all right? And all out of wood, okay? He kept the same thing his father wanted to roll with. So everything that they added on was still made from Florida pine. But there was another cool thing that they added here, the light system that they had in here. So they had electricity, but they also used natural light. Now, I couldn't find any pictures explaining that, so I'm going to just point it out to y'all. So see these squares here in the ceiling? when electricity was a thing, you can clearly see they got, lights going through here. But during the day, just to save on electricity, some of these panels in the ceiling would let light through. All right. And when that light came through, it would light up the whole room. And the glass that they was using was Tiffany glass. Also, I wanted to show y'all this as well. So this is the new open floor plan that the son built inside of here. And what happened was, it was nice in there before, but he said that people were almost standing on top of each other. And when the people were waiting, they were almost just like uncomfortable. All right. So he wanted to just open it up so people could walk around, they could see things, and that boosted business tremendously. Now, early 1920s, after the son passes away, somebody buys the hotel. And that person was this guy. This is John Etney Bowman. Now, if you don't know who John is, he's the one who started the whole Biltmore Corporation, okay? He owns the hotels, all of them, every last one of them. He started it. But when he picked up that hotel, at first, it was just the Bellevue Hotel. But when he got it, he added the Biltmore. Now, when John bought the property, early 20s, he did some renovating himself, did a few things. Business was rolling for a few decades. But around the time of the war started, all right, World War, they shut the hotel down, and they actually just let people just stay there. They kind of used it for a training facility as well. But after the war, business was booming per usual. But sometime a little bit after the war, like I said, business was doing pretty good, all right? Some other guy buys it by the last name Powell. And when he bought it, things were just never the same with this hotel. Matter of fact, things just started to rapidly decline. See, the problem is other hotels were coming into the pictures. Bigger resorts, nicer amenities, all right? And remember what I said, this whole place is made out of wood. So there are other places that are just nicer looking hotels because it was just old, really old. Now, over the next 30 years, this place, it switches owners like nothing, all right? Somebody came in and bought it, wanted to put $100 million into it. Another company out of China came in and they just demolished the place. They didn't really take care of it. The roof was caving in. They was charging the people $250 a day until they fixed it. I mean, this place went through it, all right? And that was up until 1990s. Then they were just like, look, we got to do something. So in 1997, another company gets it and things are looking promising. They started renovating it, doing work on it. But the residents that were surrounding this hotel said, look, we don't want that at all. We don't want you coming in here fixing it. We don't want the noise. They didn't really want any company to come in and kind of restore it because they were kind of over it. So people couldn't build. They couldn't get the permits. Also, they tried one more push, okay? One more push to try to save and restore this hotel. And they were gaining a lot of leeway on doing so. But there were two hurricanes. Gene, there was another one, Francis or something like that, kind of, damaged the place a little bit. And that pushed everything back again. So another company comes in. And when they come in, they say, look, how about we just, wash our hands with this place? We're going to tear it down and we're going to build 180 condominiums. This is what people want. But when they were tearing it down, all right, the company, Belleview-Biltmore LLC, they decided to keep a little bit, of it, 36,000 square feet. They said, look, we're going to take this and we're going to move it down to Clearwater. And that's exactly what they did. So this is now the Bellevue Inn in Clearwater. So pieces of the old hotel are inside of this hotel in some of the rooms so they can keep the, history going. But what's weird? They towed us down to build condominiums. This sit right next to condominiums. That's crazy. Now look, I don't know what y'all gonna do to remember this. Like it, comment, share it. I don't know. But the more you know. Peace.